When life's tough, remember, you are tougher. With this motivational quote, a very good morning to all my dear students. I hope you all are in good health. I, Shreya Jadhav, welcome you all to my e-learning channel. And today, we are going to learn English, Grade 10, Supplementary Reading, Unit 2, The Thief's Story, written by Ruskin Bond. So before the reading and explanation of the chapter, let us go through the detail about the author. Ruskin Bond, born on 19th May 1934, is an Indian author of Briton descent. He lives in Mussoorie, India. The Indian Council for Child Education has recognized his role in the growth of children's literature in India. He was awarded the Sahitya Academy Award in 1992 for Our Trees Still Grow in Dehra, his novel in English. He was awarded the Padma Shri in 1999 and the Padma Bhushan in 2014. So now let us go through the introduction for answers. Prose name, The Thief's Story. Author's name, Ruskin Bond. Genre, short story. Summary. A young boy makes friends with Anil. Anil trusts him completely and employs him. Does the boy betray his trust? So dear students, this is the introduction for your answer. Now whenever you are appearing for the test or exams, always remember that you are supposed to write introduction first whenever you start your answer. So now let us go through the reading and explanation of the chapter. Chapter 2, The Thief's Story. A young boy makes friends with Anil. Anil trusts him completely and employs him. Does the boy betray his trust? I, over here refers to the writer himself. I was still a thief. So over here I is the thief when I met Anil. And though only 15, I was experienced and fairly successful hand. Anil was watching a wrestling match when I approached him. He was about 25, a tall, lean fellow, and he looked easygoing, kind and simple enough for my purpose. I hadn't had much luck of late and thought I might be able to get into young men's confidence. You look a bit of a wrestler yourself, I said. A little flattery helps in making friends. So do you, he replied, which put me off for a moment because at that time I was rather thin. Well, I said modestly, I do wrestle a bit. What's your name? So over here in the starting, I means the person whose name is Hari Singh. Okay, here the name is been mentioned like that. The real name is something else. So over here the thief is meeting Anil and he remembers it very fairly. Why? Because when he was 15 years old, he was still a teenager, but he was very experienced and fairly successful. And when he saw Anil, he was about 25 years old. He was tall and he was lean and thin fellow and he looked easygoing person, very simple and moderate. So he thought that let's try his luck and take this man into confidence. And then the person is approaching and he's asking to Anil that do you wrestle a bit for some flattery helps in making friends. And at that time Anil is replying, I think that you are also in this business. For a minute the thief was taken aback because of this thing. Why? Because thief was really very thin. Okay, what's your name? Anil is asking and the thief is replying Hari Singh. I lied, means the thief is not giving his actual identity. Hari Singh, I lied. I took a new name every month that kept me ahead of police and my former employers. After this introduction, Anil talked about the well-oiled vessels who were grunting, lifting, and throwing each other about. I didn't have much to say. Anil walked away. I followed cautiously. Hello again, he said. I gave him my most appealing smile. I want to work for you, I said, but I can't pay you. Now, Hari Singh means the thief lied. He introduced himself as Hari Singh. And the thief is telling that every month he used to take and adopt a new name that would keep him ahead of all the police and other employers. And after the introduction and talking something about wrestling, they both moved in a different path. But Hari Singh tried to follow him. And again, Anil is wishing him hello. And in the most appealing smile, Hari Singh, the thief, is asking that he wants to work for him. But Anil is saying that it is not possible because he cannot pay him anything. I thought that over a minute perhaps I had misjudged my men. I asked, can you feed me? Can you cook? I can cook, I lied again. If you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. Now over here it took a bit of minute and perhaps he was misjudged in taking about the men. But somehow he told that can you feed me? So Anil asked that can you cook? Now Hari Singh lied at that time that he is able to cook. So Anil told that if you can cook for me, then I can feed you. He took me to his room over Jamuna sweet shop and told me I could sleep on the balcony. But the meal I cooked that night must have been terrible because Anil gave it to a stray dog and told me to be off. But I just hung around, smiling in my most appealing way. And he couldn't help laughing. Now at that time, Anil took Hari Singh to his home. He was permitted to sleep in the balcony area, and the food which Hari Singh cooked at that day was so awful and so bad that he gave it to the stray dogs. And Hari Singh was very idiotically smiling at Anil, and that made him really laugh. Later he patted me on the head and said, never mind, he would teach me to cook. He also taught me to write my name and said he would soon teach me to write whole sentence and add numbers. I was grateful. I knew that once I could write like an educated man, there would be no limit to what I could achieve. It was quite pleasant working with Anil. I made the tea in the morning and then would take my time buying the day's supplies, usually making profit about ₹1 a day. I think he knew I made a little money this way, but he did not seem to mind. Now what happened? Anil told that please don't worry Hari Singh, I'll tell you how to cook, I'll teach you how to write, I'll teach you the addition, subtraction, everything. And at that time Hari Singh thought that this would be so well for him that if he is able to read and write like an educated man, then it would be really very profitable for his business. Over here the picture has been put forward to you. Anil made money by fits and starts. He would borrow 1 week, lend the next. He kept worrying about his next check. But as soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. It seems he wrote for magazines, a queer way to make a living. One evening he came home with a small bundle of notes, saying he had just sold a book to a publisher. At night I saw tuck of money under the mattress. Now what happened? He made money by fits and starts. He would borrow a week the money and then he would give it the next week. The day his check would come, he would go out and celebrate. It seems that he was a writer and he used to write columns in the magazine. And one evening what happened, that a small bundle of notes came to him because he just sold one of his books to a publisher. And at that time he saw that the bundle of that notes is under the mattress. I had been working for Anil for almost a month, and apart from cheating on shopping, he had not done anything in my line of work. I had every opportunity for doing so. Anil had given me a key to the door, and I could come and go as I pleased. He was the most trusting person I had ever met. And that is why it was so difficult to rob him. It's easy to rob a greedy man because he can afford to be robbed, but it's difficult to rob a careless man. Sometimes he doesn't even notice he's been robbed, and that takes all the pleasure out of the work. Well, it's time I did some real work, I told myself. I'm out of practice, and if I don't take the money, he'll only waste it on his friends. After all, he doesn't even pay me. Now, what happened? Almost it was a month that he was working for Anil. And because of that thing, what happened? He thought that now he is supposed to try his luck. And he thought of cheating, and he thought that he is having the best opportunity for doing so, because Anil used to give him the key of the door and he could come and go whenever he was pleased. And he thought that he was the most trusting person that he had ever met, and it was so difficult to rob Anil. Why? Because if a greedy man is there, we or the person who is robbing him feels satisfied that as he was greedy, he robbed him. But Anil was a careless man, and sometimes even he didn't notice that he was being robbed. And this would take all the pleasures out of his work. But then Hari Singh thought that now it is time to show the real work, and he talked to himself and he thought that he was out of practice. And if he will not take the money from Anil, then he would just waste it on his friends. And even all, he doesn't pay it to Hari Singh. Anil was asleep. A beam of moonlight stepped over the balcony and fell on the bed. I sat up on the floor, considering the situation. If I took the money, I could catch the 10:30 express to Lucknow. Sleeping out of the blanket, I crept up to the bed. Anil was sleeping peacefully. His face was clear and unlined. Even I had more marks on my face, though mine was mostly scars. Now what happened? Anil was sleeping at that time, and the moonlight was beaming, stepping into the balcony. And what he did, he just sat up on the floor and he considered that now this is the best opportunity where he could get his money. He would catch 10:30 express to Lucknow, and he just sleeping out of his blanket. He just walked very slowly to the bed. And at that time duration, Anil was sleeping very peacefully. His face was so clear and unlined. He was sleeping like a very peaceful person. And the writer or the thief is trying to say that he was having even more marks. Hari Singh was having more marks on his face because mostly he was having some scars. My hand slid under the mattress, searching for the notes. When I found them, I drew them out without a sound. Anil sighed in his sleep and turned on his side towards me. I startled and quickly crawled out of the room. When I was on the road, I began to run. I had the notes at my waist, held there by the string of my pajamas. I slowed down to a walk and counted the notes. 600 rupees in 50s. I could live like an oil-rich Arab for a week or two. So now what happened? He just slid down his hand under the mattresses and he searched for the notes. When he found them, he drew without a sound. He saw that Anil was sleeping over there, and he just started to crawl out of the room. When he was on the road, he began to run. and he said that he put all his notes in his waist, in the string of pajamas. He slowed down his walks and then he counted, and that was 600 rupees in 50s note. And the Hari Singh is thinking that he could live like an oil-rich Arab for a week or two. He could live very nicely. You can see the picture over here, how Hari Singh is trying to get the money under the mattress, and how Anil is peacefully sleeping. When I reached the station, I didn't stop at the ticket office. I had never bought a ticket in my life, but bashed straight to the platform. The Lucknow Express was just moving out. The train had still to pick up speed, and I should have been able to jump into one of the carriages. But I hesitated. For some reason I can't explain. And I lost the chance to get away. Now what happened? He reached the station, but he never used to buy tickets in his life. He just dashed, means rushed straight to the platform. Over there, the Lucknow Express was moving. It was moving, but it was not that speedy enough, but he was able to catch it. If he would jump, he would get on one of the carriages. But at that very situation, he hesitated. Why? The reason is not explained, and he was also confused. But somehow he lost his chance to get away. When the train had gone, I found myself standing alone on the deserted platform. I had no idea where to spend the night. I had no friends, believing that friends were more trouble than help, and I did not want to make anyone curious by staying at one of the small hotels near the station. The only person I knew really well was the man I had robbed. Leaving the station, I walked slowly through the bazaar. Now what happened? The train just went left, and he found himself just standing alone on the platform. He had no idea where to spend his night because he was not having any sort of friends. For him, friends were more sort of problematic person. He didn't want to stay in the nearby hotels or near the stations. Why? Because very easily, someone would trace him out. And the only person he really knew was Anil, the person whom he had robbed. So he left the station and started walking very slowly to the bazaar. In my short career as a thief, I had made a steady man's face when they had lost their goods. The greedy man showed fear, the rich man showed anger, the poor man showed acceptance. But I knew that Anil's face, when he discovered the theft, would show only a touch of sadness, not for the loss of money, but for the loss of trust. So, the thief Hari Singh was having a short career, and he made a study that how the people would behave when they lost their goods. The greedy man would always be fearful that his things are lost. The rich man would be really angry. The poor man would accept that this is their destiny, nothing could be changed. But Anil would be really very sad. Why? Not because he has lost the money, but he has lost the trust in Hari Singh. I found myself in the Maidan and sat down on a bench. The night was chilly. It was early November, and a light drizzle added to my discomfort. Soon it was raining quite heavily. My shirt and pajamas stuck to my skin, and a cold wind blew the rain across my face. So now what happened? He was just walking through the bazaar, and he came into the Maidan, and he just sat on the bench. The night was really very chilly. It was early November, and it started raining very heavily, and the cold wind also started blowing. I went back to the bazaar and sat down in the shelter of the clock tower. The clock showed midnight. I felt for the notes. They were damp from the rain. Anil's money. In the morning, he would probably have given me 2 or 3 rupees to go to the cinema, but now I had it all. I couldn't cook his meal, run to the bazaar, or learn to write whole sentence anymore. I had forgotten about them in excitement of the theft. Whole sentence, I knew, could one day bring me more than few hundred rupees. It was a simple matter to steal, but sometimes just as simple to be caught. But to be really big man, a clever and respected man, was something else. I should go back to Anil, I told myself, if only to learn to read and write. Now he came back to bazaar. He just found one of the shelters under the clock tower. It was midnight, and he felt that the notes were damp from the rain, and he was alarmed that these money belongs to Anil, and probably in the morning he might have given him 2 or 3 rupees to go to cinema, to go to bazaar, to get the things. He was supposed to still learn plenty of things from him, to write down the whole sentences, but in this excitement of stealing down the things, he forgot it. And he thought that if I have stolen things just now, a few hundred of rupees, but if I was a learned man, an educated man, if I'm able to read and write and calculate, then it would be a really big deal, so that I could become a respectable person. And he thought that he should be going back to Anil to just learn, read and write. I hurried back to the room feeling very nervous, for it is much easier to steal something than to return it undetected. I opened the door quietly, then stood in the doorway. In clouded moonlight, Anil was still asleep. I crept to the head of the bed, and my hand came up with the notes. I felt his breath on my hand. I remained still for a minute. Then my hand found the edge of the mattress and slipped under it with the notes. I awoke late next morning to find that Anil had already made the tea. He stretched out his hands towards me. There was a 50-rupee note between his fingers. My heart sank. I thought I had been discovered. I made some money yesterday, he explained. Now you will be paid regularly. My spirits rose, but when I took the note, I saw it was still wet from the night's rain. Now what happened? He hurriedly went back. He was really very nervous, and when he went back, he saw that Anil was still sleeping very peacefully. Somehow he managed to slip down the notes into the mattress, and he went to sleep. Next, it was not possible for him to wake up early, so he woke up late, and by that time Anil was awake and he made tea. And Anil stretched out his hands towards Hari Singh and he gave him 50 rupees note. And he said that yesterday he had made money, he got some payment, and now he will be paying him regularly. And his spirit, means Hari Singh's spirit, got really excited, and when he took note, he saw that the note was still wet in the night's rain. Today we'll start writing sentences, he said. He knew, but neither his lips nor his eyes showed anything. I smiled at Anil in my most appealing way, and the smile came by itself without any effort. What happened? He, means Anil, told that today they will be starting up with writing down the sentences. Anil knew, but neither his lips nor his eyes showed anything. He knew that somehow this money was stolen by Hari Singh, but he didn't bother. His enthusiasm, his feeling, his sentiment, his concern for Hari Singh was the same. And in a very appealing way, Hari Singh also smiled back without any effort. So this is all about the thief's story written by Ruskin Bond. Dear students, I hope you all like the chapter. We are supposed to learn so many things from it, that never ever break any person's trust, because trust is something which we can never repay it back. If we have stolen something, we can replace it through things. If we have stolen any sort of goods, we can give it back. But trust is something which is immortal, or we cannot repay it back. Once it is broken, it is broken. Yes, so I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Have a nice day, everyone. Goodbye. And if you have any doubt or queries, you can comment down in the comment section. Thank you.